Good morning. I'm Ayya Vimala, and today is Friday, November the 19th, and I'm back after being gone for over a week. I was in Tennessee visiting my mom and my brother and his wife and my niece and her husband, so it was really good to be able to go and spend the day with my mom and just be with her. So it was good to be with family, and especially spending time with my 97-year-old mom, and just being able to be patient and loving, and to try not to fix things. So there's a lot of acceptance that I have to work on. My tendency is to want to fix things for her, so she doesn't have to live with being blind and her sight, the little sight she does have, getting worse. And there are lots of things, and as we age, these are things that happen to all of us. So it's difficult to see in our loved ones, and it's more about acceptance than it is about trying to fix things and change things. So I had some important lessons. So it's good to see good Sangha friends. And what I wanted to do today was mostly just sit with you, but I wanted to talk again about compassion. And remember, we were doing the mindfully facing climate change meditations, and I really wanted to look again at compassion. So I'd like to read this again and then sit with you. Yeah, it's really good to be back. Thank you, Patty. Contemplating, wrong one. Cultivating compassion. The presence of the wholesome joy of being in the present moment provides an ideal foundation for the arousing of compassion, or the other divine abodes. So that's loving kindness or metta, compassion, which is karuna, upekkha, which is sympathetic joy, a joy for the happiness and success of others. And I'm sorry, that's mudita. Upekkha is equanimity, equipoise. That's that balance where we don't have to go on the up and down kind of roller coaster of emotions. We see things more from a distance. We become more the observer. And so we can allow things to flow. And there's a lot more acceptance. So compassion is, of course, one of these four highest qualities. We can work with meditation with all four of them. So I'll start again. I got sidetracked a little bit. The presence of the wholesome joy of being in the present moment provides an ideal foundation for the arousing of compassion, or the other divine abodes. Such arousing can be undertaken based on employing either a particular phrase that expresses the sentiment of the relevant divine abode, or else by using a mental image or picture. In the case of compassion, the sentiment would be the wish for non-harm. And an image could be anything that arouses within oneself the mental attitude of compassion. Any image that fulfills this purpose can serve as the starting point. In case one decides to start with mental reflections in the form of phrases, then these are best kept short and concise right from the onset. So we just want those mental reflections to be just a few words, not getting into a lot of thinking and analysis. Both reflections and mental images can be skillful means to arouse compassion. Once they have fulfilled this task, however, they can be left behind. Everything is like that raft after we cross the river. As soon as we don't need them anymore, we let them go. Such tools or supports meant to lead on to a stage of practice where they are no longer needed. Once they seem no longer necessary, a shift can take place from doing compassion to simply being compassion. And this is all the wish for non-harm. So it's simply being compassion by way of allowing one's whole body and mind to be suffused with compassion. After having dwelled for some time in this experience, the compassion can be allowed to radiate in the different directions. Such radiation can begin by pervading the front, then the right, the back, and the left. This is similar to the practice we did with the earth element. As you'll remember, that was the first one from this book, Mindfully Facing Climate Change. Having in this way established pervasion of the four directions, the radiation of compassion can also extend upwards and then downwards. So we send it out in the four directions, and then it increases to 6. The practice of this radiation could be compared to a source of light surrounded by a curtain on all sides. To allow the light to shine in all directions, one slowly and gently pulls away the curtain. No need to push or exert force in any way. It does not matter how far the light of compassion is able to shine right now. The task is only one of removing any boundary or allowing the mind to become naturally boundless. So any boundary that we may have set. So think of the boundaries we have. Maybe we can feel compassion towards our loved ones, but it's hard to feel compassion for strangers or enemies or difficult people or terrible people who have committed lots of horrible crimes. So the task is only one of removing any of those boundaries, of allowing the mind to become naturally boundless. With continued practice, at times the inner light will shine with increasing strength, and its illumination will spread far and wide. However short or far it may spread, a temporary liberation of the mind is reached as soon as the radiation has become boundless in all directions. With the radiation established in all directions, one simply remains in the spaciousness of the mental liberation by compassion, without paying further attention to individual directions. So once we go through being able to radiate that quality of being compassion, then we don't pay attention to the directions. We just remain in that spaciousness. In terms of the light simile, just keep shine. In terms of the light simile, the curtains having been gently pulled away, now the light just keeps shining in all directions. A soft awareness of the body in the sitting posture and of the continuity of breathing can serve as stabilizers of the mind. For the same purpose, it can be helpful to use the times of inhalation for attending to the felt sense of compassion, and the times of exhalation to being more aware of the spaciousness of the mind. So as you inhale, just be more aware of the quality of compassion, that felt sense of being compassion. And exhaling, being more aware of the spaciousness of the mind. Within such spaciousness of the mind, any defilement has no chance to remain. As soon as a distraction is noticed, one just allows the mind to return to its condition of spaciousness, and the mental narrowness that accompanies the defilement evaporates on its own. So, of course, this is only temporary, to be staying in spaciousness as we exhale and in that sense of compassion as we inhale. But if we notice any distractions, we can, and they will come up. So a distraction is a defilement. It's pulling us away from our focus. As soon as a distraction is noticed, just allow the mind to return to its condition of spaciousness. And the mental narrowness that accompanies a defilement evaporates on its own. So let's do that. We have about 15 minutes to sit, and I'd like to do it with almost no guidance. So just work with these instructions. I might just, we can go back, be in the present moment, let your body be in the present moment. You can begin with a phrase. So the only thing when we're working with compassion that we need to focus on is the wish for non-harm. Non-harm to any and all beings, to the earth, to life on the earth, to animals. I think we can think of even plants, trees, because we know how much sentient life depends on these things. So the trees and the bushes and the grass, all of these are housing the creatures that we can all say, yes, those are sentient beings. So non-harm can even apply to the vegetation that supports them, that supports us. So arouse any phrase or word that allows you to picture the image, or just have a word or a few words that make you bring non-harm alive in your mind. Let your body be comfortable and relaxed, but be awake. Even with your eyes closed, we can really train ourselves to be awake. So you can close your eyes, but your body is in the present moment. You're in your body. We're awake. We want the body to be relaxed and comfortable as much as it can be. I know a lot of you live with pain, and you may know positions that allow your body to relax more. And that allows us to be more in the moment and more focused on our practice. We can breathe in that sense of being compassion. Compassion allows us to see the suffering of others and wish them no harm. And then we want to become no harm. To just be that compassion. There can be action involved in being not non-harming. But first we want to just become an embodiment of no harm, non-harm, to be harmless to all life. So breathe in that sense of compassion. And breathe out spaciousness. We're breathing out into that boundless space that we've created with our compassion. And remembering that when we develop the quality of compassion, we include ourselves. We're not just channeling something and ignoring ourselves. We embody compassion towards ourselves and towards all other beings. Breathing in compassion, breathing out and exploring the spaciousness we're creating, the spaciousness we're entering. Breathe in compassion and breathe out into the spaciousness. No boundaries, being limitless, nothing stopping is nothing to get in the way of this limitless space. We don't stop ourselves from feeling compassion and from being compassion. It just radiates from us in all directions. Let everything go. Breathing in compassion, breathing out into the spaciousness that's created as we become compassion. If a distraction arises, just return to your breath. And let that distraction just evaporate. No need to feed it. Just go back to that feeling of spaciousness. And that spaciousness is allowing that compassion to radiate out from you in all directions, boundlessly, no obstacles. Just feel your heart soften and open up to compassion for all life, all living beings. Now, as we end our time together, you can keep you can keep sitting and practicing as long as you like. May all of you and may all beings be well, be contented, and be at peace. And may everything we do and think and say today be done not only for our benefit, but for the benefit of all living beings, visible and invisible, being born and dying. May all beings everywhere receive the benefit of all that we do, all that we think, all that we say. Thank you. So I'll be back on my regular schedule. I'll be here Sunday, and I hope you have a beautiful day.